Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to askNK. Today we're taking a look at Mixos, and Mixos is a beautiful texturing studio that exists on your browser, and this tool simply allows you to do your texturing without any download, subscription, or any of those stuff that you get to worry about. So you can use this for both personal and commercial use, and this is a real-time PBR texturing tool that simply exists on your browser. On the other hand, this doubles as a free asset platform where you can get a ton of free assets and also resources as well. So for those who like to get started with this, all you need to do is go over to the link in the description. It's going to bring you right here where you'll be able to read through and see some of the cool things that this allows you to do. So basically how you get to work with this is very simple. Like right here, it gets to say that there's no setup, no pipeline wrangling. You simply import, texture, refine, and export. And for the free stuff, for you to get them, all you need to do is go over to the free asset, then you can find them right here. So we've got the free textures, free models. We'll talk about these ones later. But for the tool itself, to get started is this simple. Click on start texturing and this loads up the user interface. So within the user interface, you have very simple controls. You've got a big viewport here. This is where all your texturing happens. You've got your layer section. You've got your material section. You can import stuff. You can generate stuff if you want to. And right here is where your properties live. Over here is where you get to see stuff based off the channels that you're working on. So from base to normal, all the way to height, roughness, and metallic. Right here is where you can see things in both 3D and 2D. If you like to see things in split mode, so where you can see your 3D and your UVs, you can see them as well. So depending on how you like the texture, you can actually go ahead and work with this one. On the other hand, for your test shapes, you've got different shapes or different primitives that you can work with. You've got the sphere, then we've got the cube. So we've got the cube right here, we've got the plane, and we also have the cylinder. Something else that you'd also notice is when texturing, this allows you to texture in 2K, and you can export as 4K. And of course, you can reduce this if you want. Maybe you like to texture in 1K and export to 4K. You can simply do all of that. Another thing that you get to notice is right here, we've got HDRI. So you can play with the HDRI that you use in texturing. So we've got different kinds of HDRIs right here, which you can play with. So we can go over to the Studio HDRI and this loads. So maybe if you like to do your texturing with the Studio HDRI, you can do that. The neutral HDRI is also here. So, just in case you like to do that. But my favorite is definitely the outdoor one. And you can play with exposure, the environment intensity, brightness, contrast, all of that stuff. And to start texturing is very easy. Let's start off with a sphere. So if you like to start texturing with this, how you work with it is relatively simple. If you would like to just throw in a simple material to work with, you can just go ahead and click on that material and automatically it would ask you to create the name for the project. In this case, we're just going to call this sphere and click on save project. Now for you to actually save project, you need to have an account. That way it makes sense to always come back and continue from wherever you stopped. So with this here, you notice that I've got the properties for this material right here. So like we mentioned, this is where your layers exist. So we can increase the tiling if we want. We can play with the normal if we want. So in case you like to see the normal, of course, if you go over to the normals, you'll be able to see that we've got all of this. You possibly might want to change the color. You can play with the hue, saturations and stuff to change the color. You can do all of that. You can also choose to replace this if you want. So maybe if there's one that you like to use to replace it, you can do it. And this is how you load your basic material. And speaking about materials, you have a ton. There's a ton of materials that you can work with. At the same time, if you like to work with models, they also have a good number of models that you can also pick up from. Then we've got smart materials as well, which you can actually pick up and load into your layer stack. If we go all the way down, we also have saved materials. So if there are materials that you save, you can have them there. We also have mask, and this has to do with different kinds of mask that you can use. If you do have decals, you can find the decals here, or you generate one. And speaking about generating stuff, if you do generate anything, you find it right here. But I'll typically think that most of the people that would like to work with this are just going to use this to do their quick texturing and move on. And speaking about quick texturing, if you like to start texturing, how you can do this is very simple. You need layers. And for your layers, if you click on this button, you do have your material layer, which is something that we just talked about. Then we've got the paint layer. So if we click on paint layer, you would see that we have all of the properties that we need for doing our painting. So right here, we have our paint brush. We've got the erase brush. We have the size for the brush, so we can reduce that if we want. And we have the opacity, the flow, the hardness. Right here, we have the color. So if there's a specific color that I'm going for, we can actually go ahead and select that color. If you like to eyedrop a color, you can use the eyedropper and pick up a color, say a color like so. We can pick that color up. We can choose to simply lock out transparency if we want. We can turn on mirroring if we like to. We can have mirroring on either end. So if I go over here and I start painting, you notice that we have the mirroring turned on. We can turn that off as well. We can mirror on the y-axis, and we can also play with pen pressure and sensitivity if you're working with a pen. Right here, you also have different brush parameters which you can work with. At the same time, for your brushes, you have different kinds of brush that you can pick up. So maybe you like to play with brushes, you can pick up those brushes and you can use them. Now with these basics out of the way, let's actually go ahead and bring in a model and explore some stuff with it. And for that, we're simply going to go over to where we have our models, and I can bring in the marble bust. So once we click on the marble bust, this loads in. So it is pretty interesting how quick this comes in. So this is the material that it comes with. We can turn that off and we can turn it back on. And if we like to do paintings on this, we click on the plus button. We can either start with a paint layer, or we can do an image to material, which can convert an image to a material that will be applied on the model. So if you're thinking about using this as a base texture, of course you can. And once you have this loaded, we can go in and tile these a couple of times. We can also crank the normal just about that much. And like we showed earlier, we can play with any of these to get some pretty cool result. So for the painting, we can start off with a simple paint. Let's turn this off. So to start off with a simple paint is this easy. We already have the color that we selected earlier. You can select multiple colors or any color that you want. So if this is the color we're going for, instead of painting one after the other, like instead of doing a simple cross paint, we can click on fill and automatically that fills it up. Something that is very interesting with how the paint layer works, which is what we're explaining with this one, is this, that right here, you would notice that we've got something called a paint stack. So if we click on the plus sign on the paint stack, we can load in multiple paintings under one layer. So we can go ahead and say maybe we would like to paint something else, something totally different. Let's change the brush and we can paint these right across our piece. And then this is also going to exist all under this one layer. So you can make multiple layers under one layer with the paint stack. And that is something that I haven't really seen with other tools. In terms of cleaning up, we can also go ahead and use the erase button to clean up certain parts as well. Down here, you would notice that we've got different channels that we can paint on. So if we go ahead and click on the plus sign, say for example, we would like to paint on the metallic channel and not on the base channel, you would notice that this now registers it as metallic, while these other first two are set to base color. So to paint the metallic, we can select any of the color, select the paintbrush, and we can also go ahead and select any of the other brushes that we would like to use. In this case, I'm simply going to keep it at this brush because this is one we like to use. Let's increase the hardness a bit and we can start painting. So once we paint, you would see it. Now, why you're seeing this looking a bit dry is because the metallic is set to 0. If we crank this all the way up and start painting, you start seeing that metallic effect all over the model. Again, if you like to use a split view to actually do your painting, by every means, go ahead and do it. And if there are parts that you like to clean, say for example, we like to clean parts like this. If you tap X on the keyboard, instead of traveling back and forth, it switches to the erase brush. X on the keyboard brings you back to the erase brush, and you can use this to clean stuff up. At the same time, you can easily zoom in and out of your 2D canvas and make changes directly there. Certain changes or certain effects may not necessarily reflect properly on the 3D viewport, but using the canvas would actually make this work properly. In the same way that we painted both the metallic and also the base paint is also how you can proceed to paint on the other channels as well. You can choose to duplicate them, lock them, and even play with the opacity, depending on how much of the effect that you want on a specific layer to be applied on the overall material itself. And over here, you'd also notice that we've got blend modes. Currently, we have only 4 blend modes, and I think this is going to increase over time. If you also go all the way down here, you'd notice that we have some tools that you can use to re-unwrap your UVs. We also have some tools that you can use to bake maps. just in case you like to bake them. Down here, you'd also have texture to color ID tools that are here. And these are tools that can help you generate color IDs from your mesh. Or if you have a color ID for your mesh, you can actually load the map here and use that for your texturing. Pretty nice. And it's worth mentioning that all of these are happening on this particular paint layer. So if we just simply turn this off, you notice all of that disappears. If you're thinking about reordering, you can easily do that. So maybe we would like this to be on top, or maybe we would like this to be down. You can order this however you want. And again, like we mentioned, all of these are existing under this particular paint layer. Now with the paint layer discussed and out of the way, if we click on the plus sign, we can also throw in adjustment layers as well. Possibly you would like to make adjustments to a specific paint layer. How this one works is you apply the adjustment on the layer. So for example, if we would like to increase the blacks and maybe possibly go all the way down and play with the vibrance a bit, maybe we would like to play with the vibrance just about that much. Maybe we would like to throw in a bit of polarization. We can do that on this piece, so we can add a bit of polarization on that piece, and a little bit of blur would not hurt. So if we would like to blur things out just about that much, we can do it. All of these adjustments would exist on top of this layer. If we add a new layer on top, a new paint layer, that will not be affected. So it works more like how you have in Photoshop. The only difference is you don't clip this. Now what you can do is, if you're thinking about just painting mask and maybe you just want this adjustment to happen on a specific part, what we can do for that is this simple. Click on the brush sign that you have here, and from here you can start painting mask. So for this, what we can do is to have this selected, and we can actually go ahead and paint out where we wouldn't want that effect to apply. Maybe we would like the effect to just apply on just that part that we have painted, which is here, and maybe we don't want that to apply every other part. We can actually go ahead and use the masking tool to mask all of this part out. So if we go back to the adjustment layer and we choose to play with our saturation and hue, you would notice only the parts that we don't have maxed out gets affected. So we can actually do stuff like that and get some interesting result out of it. If we go over to materials and then we choose any of the materials that we have here, let's pick this one, you would notice that by the side of it, we have that mask. Let's delete this layer and also delete these other one so that we can just simply focus on this one. So once we have this, we can go to the material section, possibly crank this up if we want. If we like to use mask to drive how certain things actually work with this, we can. So we mentioned that if you have this selected, you can actually come in and start painting stuff. And for some reason, our metalness that we painted earlier still seem to be coming through for some reason. I think that might be a bug, but I believe once you're exporting, these should export properly. So if we go in here, let's push that up and back. Yep, we have that. So I think it's a bit of a bug. If we go all the way back here and we're thinking about working with mask, we can either delete the mask that we have, click on the add button and add a procedural mask. So with the procedural mask here, we can easily play with any of these parameters to get some very cool stuff. I'm also going to turn this on so that we can see what we are dealing with. So once we have that turned on and I play with the contrast or the brightness, you can start seeing that these begins to peel away. If we increase the blacks or possibly decrease them, you would see that peel effect. So we can use this to increase or reduce stuff depending on what we are trying to create. So in this way, you have procedural mask that you can use. For scale, we can also use this to scale that up, bring that down. We can change the type of noise mask that we're working with. For now, this is set to FBM. We can choose cell, we can choose Voronoi, we can also go ahead and choose things like turbulence and so on. So in this regards, we do have tools like this that can get things going. If you're also thinking about working with smart materials, they've also got some smart materials right here. So if we go over to the smart materials section, we can pick any of these ones and load them in, and you would notice that we'll have a very nice smart material like this that is ready to go. And of course, these can be set in as groups. You can go in, make some paintings, make some changes, like very basic stuff. If you're looking at painting height maps, you can enable the height blend on this one and use this to control the height blend of the texture. One more thing has to do with decal. We didn't talk about that. So if you want to load a decal in, let's actually move that all the way up. You can click on this plus sign and load in a decal. And we already loaded one in, which is the Unreal Engine logo. So to move things around with your decal, you can simply do that by using your mouse pointer, move things where you want them to be, scale them if you want them to be scaled, rotate them if you want them to be rotated. And if you like to use mask to drive stuff on these ones as well, you can also go ahead and mask these parts out. So maybe you like to use a brush mask to do that. You can use this and start cleaning out parts. Let's make sure that we have that there. And you can use that to just clean out this part. If you already have the masking alpha, you can load in that mask alpha and use it to clean up all of this parts. So in terms of playing with decals or even loading decals in, this is pretty interesting and has a very interesting way of doing it. At the same time, if you're thinking about importing, generating stuff, this has its own place when it has to do with things that you can generate, and it is interesting how that one works. When you're thinking about exporting stuff, if you like to just export this, you can simply do that by clicking on export, come right here, define the material, define the app that you like to export your stuff to, or the DCC engine, and from here you can define the file and precision type. In this case, we're going with PNG, and over here we have more stuff that we can define, which has to do with channels. So if you like to export all of these channels, and depending on the normal map convention that you're working with, you can have that selected and then click on export texture zip, and this is automatically going to compile all of this stuff into a zip file and make them available so you can be able to open them in your DCC tool. And while this is exporting, let's talk about the free stuff that this offers. So if you're looking for free PBR materials, this offers 2,669 free materials, no strings attached. So if you like to download them, all you need to do is click on download, and this is going to zip the file and make it available for you to work with. So any of these ones that you like to download, you can actually go ahead and download them. On the other hand, if you're looking for 3D models, they also provide a good number of 3D models. All of these are sourced from Polyheaven. They are CC0 models, and you can open any of them, from furniture to props to lighting stuff, containers, food and plants, tools, decorative stuff, electronics. All of these are right here. And once our stuff has been exported, we can now go over to Blender, open this up and preview it and see all of the stuff that we can do with it, from lighting to just rendering. All of those are now super possible. So this is it for those who are thinking about exploring a new tool that they can use for texturing, or possibly you're looking for a tool that you can use to do your texturing on the go. Then the Mixos Studio, which is currently in beta, is now here, and this is an incredible tool which allows you to do all of your texturing by offering you a procedural set of tools and a web GPU, and that gives you awesome access to doing your texturing on the go and also on the web. So this is it. Tell me what you guys think about this one in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.